The public interest is something that has always attracted me, where you can find common ground, where you can provide that analysis, where you can provide advice to decision makers. I had a real interest to see all these linkages about energy and all the things that we do. So I took a personal interest in it. It's part of my DNA. Why don't you have a seat?
I think people started seeking him out when they had problems they didn't know how to solve. We always talk about people needing to think outside the box. Paul never started in a box. I've gone to him repeatedly for advice on, something's not working with the low carbon fuel standard. We don't understand supplier behavior. We need to fix a problem. The two of us would put our heads together and do some of this creative thinking.
Here's what a stakeholder is thinking. Here's what I think the real issue is. And here's where I think there's some possible solutions and options. Stages that we get stage approval along the way. It's how my brain works. It either drives you crazy or you like it. So I've worked on everything from whether or not we should bring more aluminum smelters here to BC, right down to a low carbon fuel standard, right down to renewable natural gas. We were given the task to reduce emissions by 2030, and where were the best ways to do that? The greenhouse gas reduction standard was setting a cap and then allowing utilities the freedom on how to get there. It was basically going to result in greater than a 45% reduction in emissions. There was a lot of work that we did with BC Hydro, with the Ministry of Finance, looking at what's the cost, what's the need for electricity, and where do we think markets are going to be going in the future.
He led by example, and he led by encouraging everyone on his team to take ownership of the files that they were responsible for, right through from initiation to briefing ministers.
A legacy is not just a piece of legislation that is actually very well respected, but it is a team and an approach that can implement programs like that and make them effective. 8 years ago, we just had the bikes for the first time in the lobby downstairs, and Paul just, I don't need to take a cab, I'm just gonna ride a bike. Paul, you're in a suit. Yeah. He just put a pant clip on and away he went.
When you want to be a leader, you also want to make sure that you are being innovative. So I decided when I was heading up a working group on electric vehicles that my next vehicle was going to be an electric vehicle.
6 years ago, the state of zero emission vehicle conversation was quite different than what it is today. So Paul's ability to really hear people was critical for us during heated debates between stakeholders who had opposing views on things like the effectiveness of zero-emission vehicle mandates, or between jurisdictions with varying views on the art of the possible.
Back in 2008, we were working with BC Hydro on replacing an old transmission cable when the press release came out and said, BC Hydro will buy the homes of people that want to sell. So all of a sudden, we got in the real estate business. And Paul thought, okay, well, if somebody's going to give me a bunch of lemons, I'll make lemonade. And we received approval to spend $1.6 million upgrading the energy efficiency of the homes we bought to see whether when they sold, we'd actually get more money for the more efficient homes.
We are in really good hands for the future. I've seen movement towards energy efficiency, now towards electrification and renewable fuels. Having that legacy of that change and that transformation, and that future generations can look back at us and say, we did start to make a change. So that's something that really drives me.